Not Superheroes Gets Dad's podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be presents for our kids, and come back generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I am Sean Laurie, and welcome to part two, y'all, with Jawan. Um, man, I know, like I said, y'all, I know how y'all attention span is, so I wanted to space this out a little bit for you guys, and I didn't want to rush the conversation as well. But how you doing, my guy? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Wife's cooking right now, so things are smelling good. So,
Okay.
like you said, attention. We may make this a little bit shorter since
Yeah.
I gave all the background information. We're just gonna get straight into it. So I'm
Yeah.
feeling great about yourself, bro. I don't know if I asked you last time. I was
Oh,
so excited, like, oh, I'm on camera. But yeah, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Kids it will be starting school soon, so I'm excited about that. I think I got like another 2 weeks, so I'm counting down. Like,
2 weeks,
please
yeah.
hurry up, please. But I love them, but man, they be. I feel like when they home, they want to eat everything. Like I'm like, y'all don't even eat like this at school. Like why why y'all eating this much? Like y'all just ate.
And which is
Everything is
wild because
snacks
I
too.
know we
Want a snack for
want to
everything, man.
say like,
So
okay, we want our
but
kids gone,
I'm
but they
good,
want us
bro. I'm
gone
good.
too. You know what I'm saying? They want to get away from us too.
Yeah,
They want to
yeah.
they want to get away from us, like
True,
same way we feel. You know what I'm saying?
true,
So
true, man. True. But no, man.
yeah, I
I
definitely
want to
understand that.
I wanted to talk about because you mentioned something that really caught my eye last time, or my ears, I should say, is
Sure,
you mentioned the fact that so right now your wife is serving still, right? She's in the military still.
absolutely. She's
Okay.
active. Yep.
So I wanted to talk to you about that because I know the roles have changed, right? The roles have
Yeah,
changed in a
yeah,
sense, and so I wanted to ask you about that, bro, because in society, um, that's frowned upon, right? In society, there's you're not supposed to be home with the kids. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, even though you served, you did your time and things like that, it's still like, hey, that doesn't matter. Like, as a man, you have to be constantly doing this, and that doesn't mean you're still not providing for your family, doing the things you need to. But society says you're not supposed to be home. So in a sense, quote unquote, you're the stay home dad or whatever, right? So how has that been for you, bro? And how have you navigated through
great question. Excellent question. And while my son's dribbling the ball,
that?
you get the sense of you have a high sense of pride and a low ego. That's basically how you get through it. You pride yourself on what you're doing, like your reason for being there, and you have to decrease yourself a little bit. I be honest, like you have to understand that when you're the one at 10 o'clock in the morning walking through the commissary or walking through the grocery store,
Mm,
um, shopping, you don't see too many of y'all.
yeah,
If they're not with a cane, a male or father, their kids your age, the
yeah,
ones the men are that are in the grocery store. You're not working. People asking, hey, Sergeant Muldrow. Whenever I go to the medical group, like
yeah,
because some your records stay in there for a certain amount of years.
mm,
So even things like that,
yeah,
when that ID goes from a CAT card, which is common access card, to a dependent ID, you do feel like you took a lesser role. It's like getting traded to a team where you were the all star, not even like a superstar on the team. You were the all star. You were the Dame Lillard, and then you go have to go, play a role. So you think like that,
yeah,
but realistically, and I don't have Bible scriptures, but I feel like that's part of being what a man has to do.
mm,
Who really says we're gonna always be in a position to cover things financially, to be the person that has the job that makes the most money or has the higher position? Who's to say that something wouldn't happen? But I think
yeah,
we look at it like, oh, you able bodied, you should be doing this and that, not understanding what comes with that,
yeah,
not understanding that. And not saying I don't want to. I always wanted to be in that position, but I started off in the game without it. I quit my job, making really good money for myself. And when we got married, I decided to go with her to raise our kids together. She was
yeah,
pregnant. It was summer of 2017. She was pregnant, due in January, and I was like, "Hey, I'm willing to make this happen." So it wasn't really about the role things for me
yeah,
because I feel like I had already lived my life. I was 30 years old at the time. I had lived like I probably lived a little. went a little harder than most people go, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I done all I needed to do, and I needed that isolation as far as and that separation from myself, the person
Mm,
that I used to really be at that time. Wasn't a good person,
yeah.
and being able to see myself, spend time with myself a lot of times, raise my daughter, save that money on daycare. Man, the daycare money that's it's costly, but I
Yeah.
was able to do that, and me and my daughter, I think, are closer because of it. I've
Mm,
grown because of it, and I know going forward, now that we're my wife is just screaming. But going forward and being back in the States, because I've lived overseas for 7 years. I just got here in February. We've been overseas since 2017. Just got here in February of 24.
mm,
So I literally been out of the element of working, and I've worked jobs in between, of course. But as far as being able to work and be that head of the household
yeah.
figure, I haven't done that.
Mm,
However, my kids don't show me any less respect.
yeah.
I think people are. I don't really hope people feel a certain way, but people gonna think what they're gonna think anyway. Whether I'm making, whether I'm working 14, 16 hours a week, or if I'm at home, because I'm always showing up, like you
Yeah.
said in the outro. Show up. I show up. I'm present minded.
Yeah.
I love my kids. I love my wife, and I take care of them in other ways.
Yeah.
So that really answered it.
I like
So I
that,
can't
bro.
I can't speak for everybody, but definitely understand that the humility part. You have to understand where you are
Yeah.
mentally, what you can handle, and what y'all situation is. That's y'all household. That's how y'all get down. That's how things are going, whether it's temporary or permanently. But I would hope that as a man, you are treating her well. You are being present for her. So
Yeah, no, I
sure.
like that, man. And I actually spoke about that a couple episodes ago, a couple weeks ago with shout out to Maples for being on. But we talked about that with different roles, and so I look at it like that, man. It's like in different times, in different spaces, our roles change. You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
your role changed at that moment. Your role changed where it was one of those things where you wasn't expecting to because you go from serving, you go from like you said, being on your own, doing all these different things. From what it sounds like, you always kind of been independent. You haven't had to rely on nobody, and you went from there to all of a sudden, oh shoot, okay, I got to do what's best for this family. And right now, what this family needs is for me to be present, for me to humble myself, take a little, not even, I don't want to say a backseat, but humble myself and do what's necessary for this family. And that's to make sure that I'm present. And so we don't have to pay a gang of money for babysitting. So we don't have to do all this extra stuff, man. And so I salute you to that because that's something as well. I haven't really shared this, I don't think, but I struggled a little bit with that as well because when I first got out here, the roles changed as well. Where I got out here, the plan was okay, wifey's working. I'm going to focus on the business, things like that. And that was a struggle for me, especially when the vision changed, when God kind of changed the vision. That was definitely a hurdle for me, man. So shout out to you, bro, for doing that. And I wanted to ask you too, because I know you mentioned, you had to do the work with the military, and now you're in a place where you're actually about to be a teacher. You didn't even think that. How did that happen, bro? How did you even get to that place? What type of work did you have to do to get there?
Were you in Japan or something? Because it sounded like you kind of like you set that up perfectly. You like literally handing the ball off to me, and you put that together. So yeah, got there 2017 immediately. I seen one of my homeboys I was stationed in Georgia
Mm,
with some years ago. He was like, Dro, looked back, hey man, talk to him. He was like, yeah, I'm coaching up here. I'm coaching the men's team. If you want to come out, just help out a little bit. We don't
mm,
need no more guards. I'm a shorter guy, and I play guard. So he was like, but if we could come train with the cool. I was like, all right, bet. Did that? I did that for a little while, and of course, when you're in a gym, you're on a military base. You always seeing kids. You always seeing the the uh, the school when they get out of school, they walk in the streets. And I've always had let's say I always had a kid like mind. Like
okay.
if I seen kids playing, throwing the football, I'm like, hey, I'll throw it with you guys. I'll
Yeah.
shoot around with you all. So it was never anything like some people, some people really don't like kids. They
Yeah.
like I couldn't do it. No, that ain't me. That's
Yeah.
been me. I'm an older brother. There's four of us. I'm the oldest. Um, so I'm the oldest of most of my cousins. and so I've always had that position. So it, fast forward to being a teacher, that's kind of my thing. But yeah, when I was there, I worked my little odd jobs, and then I got a position at what they call the SAC. That's a
Mm-hmm.
school age care,
Okay.
and so did that, and I absolutely loved it, man. My wife is yelling, so if y'all hear her, sorry, there's some stuff going on back home, but yeah, that's part of it's. That's they're talking about the school system, and that
Mm.
was being my wife, my father-in-law. My in-laws are both retired superintendents,
Oh, dang.
so
Okay.
they've been working in education combined probably 70 years between the
That's
two of them.
crazy.
Yeah, so and her grandfather, educators.
Jeez.
So even still, I was like, that ain't me, but I like this. And
Yeah.
so really the passion for it came from my environment. Now if
Mm.
I was around people that worked in warehouses and things like that, yeah, I probably would be going toward that. My job in the military was a heavy equipment operator. I have a bad back, and it's just like I know I wasn't going that route again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love to talk to people, and so
Yeah.
that was really becoming that SAC leader, that teacher, and then I ended up working as a sub. That and also job security. We talk about working job security. If you become a teacher of any capacity, you can always teach.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure most of us had schools where we had that 70-year-old person in school.
Yeah.
You like, man, she could be serving as like the guidance counselor or something like that, but she's working and she don't have to really do a whole lot, but get herself
Yeah.
there and back. And that was one of my big selling points for me. And then I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for speaking, counseling, therapy. Sean, I'm gonna say this to you on your podcast. I think that's your calling. I know you do it at your job already,
Yeah.
but I don't know your education level. We haven't spoken about that, but man,
Yeah.
you definitely. I see why you're good at what you do. So I
Yeah.
want to big up to you and kudos to you, bro, for sure.
Appreciate that, bro. No, I appreciate that, man. I receive that for sure, man. So I wanted to ask you too, man. Like in that
Mm.
space of to go back to serving the military and being a military family, honestly, right? Where like you said, there might be times when your
Yeah,
lady has to go do her thing or whatever. What does that look like with the support system, bro? Because you guys are constantly moving different states. I think you said like um because how many? Well, you can answer that in a minute, but I'm just curious. How many times have you guys moved since you guys been married? And then, how does that look like as far as a support system? Because if you're constantly moving, a lot of times it's just you. So, what does that look like, man? What does that look like for the support system? Because I'm always curious about. Because I always hear the stories, like it can get kind of lonely, right?
for sure.
So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. Before we got married, I had my own apartment. She was actually living with her parents. It's just more convenient that way. We moved. I moved out of my apartment, moved into her parents' rented home. Got orders to Okinawa. We moved out there. Good thing with that, we were able to move on base. So that's one move, but it was a big move. That was a 2 day flight, basically with the layover and everything. 2 hours, 2 days, basically flying from. I think we flew into Chicago and flew from Chicago to Tokyo. Like,
Jeez.
yeah. So it was the whole time, bro. A United flight. I'll never forget it. She was like 4 months pregnant, like could barely fly. Like she wasn't even supposed to be flying for real.
Mm.
Got there, got to Tokyo, and they had to fly another 3 hours to Oki. So and then another hour, 45-minute hour drive to the base. So that was a move. We actually visited home like 3 or 4 times in our 3 years, maybe five. So you talking about the money? Oh my gosh, like 12,000 each trip just to go home.
Jeez.
So COVID started happening toward the end of it.
Yeah.
So everyone is in the states dealing with COVID. We had already had it. Mind
Mm.
you, I'm in Japan, so 20 November 2019, I actually had COVID before it was called COVID
Oh
19,
dang.
and so I'm dealing with the chest pains. I lost weight, crazy weight. It was just like didn't even look healthy. It was all that stuff going on. So that's one country. We moved from Japan to England, where we just came from. So we've been in on 3 different continents
Yeah.
since 2017. You know what I'm saying? So not just the states. We
Yeah.
moved countries. We moved in England. We moved twice because I'll talk about that another time. you can imagine living as a black family in a country like England during COVID, where they
Mm.
can't see you. There's a mask over your face. When you're military, but they see you like
I
black
ain't gonna
people.
lie, that
To be honest,
that sound like they gonna be
yo
racist.
man, I can't even. I'll take a sip of my little drink for that. It's water, but
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, just you describing it sound like some racism undertone going on with that, bro.
I can't. I speak again. Speak on it another time, y'all. I speak on my pies, and when
Yeah,
Sean comes on to mine, we'll speak about that.
yeah,
So
that's
let's
great.
keep it in, keep it
Yeah,
together, keep it in the road. They say hold it
yeah,
in the road, like my pops used to say.
yeah.
But yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
and then, oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying the moving part. You basically just have to depend on you. Yes, her family, great.
Mm,
I mean, anything we need,
mm,
money. Her mother would fly from the states, from South Carolina to Japan, and
oh
spend
wow.
a week or two with us. You know, she leave her husband, and she's done that 6 times, I think. Like
Mm,
just between Japan and England, she was just flown over.
yeah,
She came and got the kids one time, like flew to England, took the kids back with her and brought them back. It was just she's just amazing. I can't say the same for my family. They never my sister, she well my cousin, but call her my sister. She did come over. She brought our boys to Japan to visit, but yeah, otherwise our we don't have that type of support. It's a lot of phone calls, a lot of dumping their information and things they got going on us, and
yeah,
because they think we got it going on, they think we got it made. Like, oh, y'all, the military covers everything. It's like it's
yeah.
not
Okay.
that. It's not that. But
So that's all I was gonna.
otherwise, yeah.
No, no, that's what I was gonna ask you then. So, like you said, because so what is it more so you just it's just all on you type of thing? Because wifey's doing her thing. So how do you navigate through that, bro? Where like you are in
So
a whole another continent, you're in a whole another place. You know, what I mean, England, Japan, whatever. So, yes, your mother-in-law flies out there 6 times, which is a beautiful thing, but she can only do that so much, right?
right.
And then you're by yourself again. So how it was? Did they have those resources in on the bases, or did you just connect with different people, made different friendships to help you with that, or was it something you had to look online? Was it like a well, you're not on Facebook, you said it's toxic, but did you at the time
I
have a
was, yeah.
community,
I just got off, but at the time, yeah.
community, or like how did you navigate, bro? Where it's like that's a lot on you. Again, your wifey's doing what she has to do, of course, and she has her own battles, but then you have your battles at home, so it's a different perspective because I look at it like you seen both worlds, right? Because you was
Mhm.
serving and doing all that and dealing with the issues that with that, but then but sorry y'all, look,
Hey,
y'all,
and we dads, man. So
this
and here
is a
comes
really
another one.
polished podcast. I
Please,
hope it's not
yeah.
hopefully it's not bothering y'all too much with the noise, y'all. But
I think they understand. If they checking
yeah,
this out, they
I hope
understand
y'all
completely.
understand it, man. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's, how did you navigate through that, bro?
Yeah, so just like this, man, you have to operate almost like an octopus, where it's like your elbow. You have to use everything, every resource you can, whether that's if you still have a parents' night out, even though it's money you spending, and
Yeah,
it's only once a month, you just get through it. And I spoke about this before. My faith is strong, so when I think everybody's faith is different. I'm not saying that it's not as strong, or some people are getting there. But I don't just have faith in God, the Spirit.
yeah,
I have faith in what God is doing for me.
mm,
So what I mean by that, all that I've been going through, like I spoke about before I got married, really prepared me to isolation, to getting put out of the military. Like I always think about it. It's always sitting on my head, like this has to work
yeah,
because I already failed somewhere, or not FAIL,
yeah,
FELL. I
yeah,
failed, but I can get up.
mm,
So I feel like I just got up, scraped my knee, but I got to keep moving, man. So yes, we did it. We do have friends who have situations where like deployments happen. Even since we've been here, I think she's been on 5 different what they call TDYs, where she'll go for a week, and it's
mm,
just us. I'm picking them up, make sure they eat, take care of things. But again, preparation. I'm so prepared. Not saying I do everything great. And it's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of that is making ensuring that I prepare myself before, so I already know when she's leaving. It's not like she just gets up, acts up. No,
Yeah.
that did happen once, and this is why this has happened. This is the backstory how I got locks. The week before, she actually had a TDY. She had to go. She was in. We were in Japan. This is 2020. We were in Japan. She flew out to mainland Japan
Mm.
for a couple of days. I got my hair cut that Friday or that Thursday, and I was like, we ended up having a quarantine because when she
Mm.
got back, the restrictions came and they told us, hey, no movement for 2 weeks. We were like the first family on the whole base because only like 6 people went on this trip. So we were the
Yeah.
first family on the base to get quarantined in March, like March 5th or something like that, 2020. And after that,
Yeah.
the whole world changed. So we got to see it first. Before you guys in the States went
Yeah.
through it, we were already kind of going through that stuff. So
That's
uh,
crazy.
for most people, so that, I mean, that was just a, and I told myself, I said, I'm not cutting my hair again. I haven't cut my hair since. But
Mhm.
it was just like when you in that pit, when you're in that state of mind, you have to just really use all of your whatever you have with this. Hey, here's YouTube. Here's let's go to the park. When you talk about being a dad, being an active dad, now what if I was working? See, like if I was working, I had one of these GS jobs, and I had to go be somewhere. My kids would be stuck at someone else's house. They'd be someone else's
Mm.
responsibility.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't do it. It was just that's the way things happen. So I could be prepared. So I could be able to support them, be present. So I think that's pretty much all those things answers
Yeah.
how that happens because I really don't know. I can just say I can speak on all these things, but I really don't know. So
Mm.
that's a great question because it's always already in his will. To
Yeah.
be
I like
honest,
that, bro. No, I like that. And so, um, but before we close out, I wanted to ask you to, for those that are in the military or battling with that or whatever, what is just some type of, maybe they're starting a family or maybe they do have a young family. What is something you can encourage them with or something you can just share with them that will help them? Because I'm going back to what you said, even part one, where
hmm
the distance and things like that that happened with your dad, and even you kind of got caught up in that for a second. You're not the first one, you're not the last one, right? So like, what is something you can encourage those that might be battling with that to be aware of that?
your main thing is understanding the child comes first. Yes, you have to take care of yourself, but to what capacity? How much can you? How much are you willing to give up for your child? I spoke about this on my pod. Uh, and I put that on my kids. It's the name of the episode.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people say, somebody mad like I put that on my son, on my grandma.
yeah,
They use that term, and
yeah.
it's like, I think about it like, how much are you really willing to do for your children?
Mm,
We say I'll do anything for my kids, and then you do something not smart. You're not a good steward of your money. You're not a good steward of time.
yeah,
You may not have a position in their life like you really should.
yeah,
So the best thing is to do to try to prepare yourself because kids, as you know, with your four, man, they don't stop eating. They
yeah,
always need something.
yeah.
They always need something, but mainly they need you. They need you to be present. So
Yes.
whatever that means to you, you have to be that first. That's important. And secondly, whenever there is separation, please ask for help. Just like with the other anything else, we're not meant to be on this earth to be. We're not on this earth meant to be alone. I know some people feel like they're in their little pods and everything. Which if you can handle that, that's amazing. I've always wanted at least, and it always have had people who are willing to help us, willing to bring us on because we do a lot. We
Yeah.
do a lot. We lots of charity, lots of GoFundMe. We and if it's $20, what I'm saying. We sending people for birthdays and it always comes back. So I always look at when I'm looking at what you invest into yourself. If you're a gym rat like I used to be, I love to run. I love still run. So do that, but maybe you have to get up a little earlier. Make that sacrifice so you can be prepared, so you can be rested to be able to handle whatever they need.
Mm,
I think we are blessed to have healthy children. Never had children that had asthma or things like that, or needed to have any special services. and especially before coming here, because the resources overseas were just they lack, so you
Mhm.
may not be able to cover that. And I don't know what I would do if something happened to my children
Yeah,
in that way. So yeah, man, young people, if you got a girl and maybe she's already pregnant, or you thinking about having kids, if you thinking about the military, make sure they take care of you. Make sure you go into a job that didn't take your time away, working mid shifts and Panamas and things like that, where you can't take them to school or you can't be available for them, because that time's going to pass, and you're going to look at your 5 year old or at your 18-year old and like, man, I didn't even spend no time with you.
yeah,
You know, and that time goes quick, bro. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure it
yeah,
goes so fast, and you looking at little versions of you that
yeah,
you don't even know certain things about them.
yeah,
You just seeing changes, and you don't even know aware of what happened, because you weren't present. Even
yeah,
though you were in the house, mentally you weren't there.
yeah.
And so that's something important I would leave
No,
for anybody in
I
that
like
position.
that, bro. No, I like that, man. And again, man, give the people where they can find you, where they can follow you, man. As we get ready to
For
close
sure.
out.
All right, man. Y'all can find me, Jawan Muldrow, otherwise known as J Wando, Life of J Wando, on Life of underscore J Wando on IG. Also DA underscore the Dope Spot Pod. Yeah, I ain't even talking about. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Pod. I'm also on Amazon Music. So you can find a podcast on any of those platforms. And thanks to Sean with the help of people like Sean. I'm on YouTube, so I'm putting a couple episodes and loading them up on YouTube now. And I'm gonna hit my man's up for some more tips. And hopefully I can meet Lamar, which is I ain't talking about this. That's how I met Sean. I didn't even. I still haven't even spoken to Lamar in person,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I ended up DMing him through another father who I
mm,
met on base. So that's going to be an interesting talk when we have a conversation. And the fact that he's from Chicago, my neighbor's from Chicago, three of my best friends are from Chicago. Like, I got
crazy.
so many Chicago ties. It's so wild. So I can't wait that we get to connect and catch
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So and thanks for
That's
thanks for
awesome.
thanks for you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
thanks for you for throwing the oops, man. This was good. This is therapeutic for me. Like, really
yeah.
get this out. So
No,
I
I'm
appreciate
dope,
it.
bro. Like I said, man, I appreciate your time, man. I know it's hectic with the fam. I know they need you too, right? They need your attention. They want your love, and so I appreciate you, man. As like I said, as the listeners understand, man, it's always crazy as dads, as parents in general, right? But we set that foundation, bro. So I'm just thankful, man, for you to give me some of your time, man, and be able to sit down and talk with us, bro. So I don't take it for granted at all.
Hey man, I try to do my best, and as we go throughout, when school's popping up, they'll be so tired by this time. They won't
Yeah,
even be
yeah,
up
yeah.
at this time. So,
It'd be easy.
so,
It'd be
yeah,
easier, man. But
yes sir, yes sir.
yeah, y'all make sure like always, man. Make sure y'all make sure y'all subscribe, tell a friend, right? And like always, remember you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See y'all.